is up, you guys? It's your boy back at it again. I got some really good bangers. So today's episode is all about r/pro revenge. So let's get it. So this first story comes from the Cunt Hunter 6969. Unwilling to pay? Let them eat some crème de la pipi cake. So, I'm a 17-year-old web dev who can make basic websites and stuff to earn money for video games. This job is pretty easy for the pay. I got picked up by some local bakery so people could pre-order cakes and stuff online. I took a few hours to puke out a functional back end and a day to make it all pretty. Thanks, Bootstrap. I had agreed for $700 basic or 700 rupees, which is basically $10. Which is insanely cheap even for India, but all I need is video game money so I'm good with that. When I'm done with the job, they need to purchase the domains and a server, which I explicitly told them, you pay me $10 and use another 10 to buy a domain, 5 to rent a server. Total is $25. They give me 15 so I could set their stuff up. Once the website was fully operational, I asked for my money, but apparently they didn't want to pay because I wasn't hosting the server anyways. Why why do I need compensation? You know, because apparently time has no value. The thing was, I could still access the server as I had the credentials for the server. So I go home, log in, and make one tiny change. The way the website works is that there's a customer page which shows you your orders, and there's a page for the store owners to see orders, payments, etc. Here's what I did. Add a small inconspicuous may contain um, La Creme de la Pipi warning in all product details. In the page where it shows you order confirmations to the customer, some options are changed with Creme de la Pipi, so the Creme de la Pipi frosting won by random. The website went down in about a week and they're back selling on Facebook. Lol, guess someone complained or something? Ha! That was pretty good. Very funny story, man. This might be the last story for today's video. So, uh, oops. So this story is by Chicken Fashion Show. So, I did to my neighbor what they did to others. To start, I bought a house with the intention of doing a flip. When I moved in, the self-appointed block captain, oh my god, I can't read, let me know who they were the first day. Sadly, they were my next door neighbors. I tried to be friendly, but listening to them, I realized how horrible they were, and tried to keep still, be civil. My significant other kept saying, "Just wait for it to be our turn." They bragged, they bragged about through the contacts with the city, forcing people to make improvements on their houses, getting undesirable renters out of the houses, and just harassing people in general. I, as a as I worked on flipping my house, the wife became a worse thorn in my side. To start, she demanded I put up a fence so people would quit cutting through my yard and scaring her. Then, her and the husband demanded I take care of the weeds in the yard, or they will not, or they will do it and bill me. After that, a tree scraped their shingles, and they asked for $1,200 to replace them. Oh day, oh my God! The tree was there before I moved in, and by code, they were responsible to cut back the branches to the property line. When I wouldn't pay, they had a relative jump my fence and cut the tree down. Needless to say, I began to ignore to them, so she became a consistent gnat and moved on to another target. Then one day I was tearing down my deck for a patio. I realized she put a feral cat colony on a section of my property. Uh-oh. I had wondered where all these stray cats were around, and I finally found out. I reached out to the city and demanded it to be removed, but they said she followed the law on getting it a place. As I tried to, to get it shut down, she began unhinged behavior from standing at her window staring at me, yelling out the window at me to hitting the fence with items to scare my dog. Here's where the revenge starts. I started by filing a HRO, harassment restraining order, basically is what it is, against the wife, and I had it granted ex parte with the evidence I provided, or of course she confesses as if it was defamatory to her character. Before the hearing, the husband tried to physically intimidate me, so I filed one against him, and it was also granted ex parte. Not party with the Y at the end, but E at the end. So I think it's parte, but I could be wrong. So in the comments, just let me know if it's correct or not. Anyways, back to the story. In the hearing, it came up that there was an HRO against the husband as well. They dogged being served until I had it published as a means of service. I started to make complaints about them and their house. Also, I made police calls when necessary. As I did this, the other neighbors began to realize they could do to them what they had done to them and others. For example, as I was having my front door replaced, needing a building work permit, I knew they were doing internal remodeling, so I called the city inspector and they were fined for not having a permit. And she ranted at the inspector who looked at my window and saw I had mine displayed. Their back porch became hoarded, so I made another call to the city inspector, and they had to clear it out. Then they had a broken window on a porch door, so I called an inspector and they had to replace the door. Next, the paint on their house was peeling, so I called the inspector and they had to repaint it. The inspector also found the wood underneath was rotted, along with their front porch was sloping, so they needed to fix the front porch section of the wood and repaint. Yikes. Through all this, they had up cameras to prove they were not doing the things I said, i.e. hitting the fence. They also pointed a camera at my backyard, as it was legal to point a camera into my yard, and a part of my HRO was her intrusive watching behaviors. I gave the camera the middle finger on my way to and from my garage. When she complained with the city tiring of her, their response was she was admitted to intrusively watching me. Ooh, that is not good. When that happens, that is not good. They fought over the cat colony. Came to an end when I realized one of the cats had a serious disease, and I began to capture them and turn them into animal control. Don't worry, animal control was part of the feral cat program, so they would not be put down, but the neighbor would have to pay a fine to get each cat out or have the colony closed. Finally, I caught the sick one and it had rabies. Uh-oh. Part of the program was for her to capture each new cat, have vaccinated. Something she admitted to willing not doing on her GoFundMe for the colony. I soon had I had that GoFundMe me shut down when I proved provided the evidence she was not using the funds as she stated they were going to be used. The city now had to act to close the colony. The person at Animal Control who wouldn't respond to my complaints was fired. The neighbors called in a city mediator who uh, who we met with presented all the evidence and said we would not meet them, and provided extremely racist tweets they made about neighbors. The city cut ties with them as community leaders. With their power to bully gone and having spent what I can only imagine in fines and repairs, like they did to the numerous other neighbors, after 14 years they sold their house and moved out. Way out to the suburbs, where they only have one neighbor about 50 yards away. They knew I was wrapping up my flip and would be out in less than a year. Without being able to bully their neighbors, with people having their backs, they seemed to have no further reason to stay. Needless to say, I did several more things to wear them down. Finally, when I listed my house, it was sold while theirs was still on the market. As a final FU to them, I reported to the county they had both the new and old house listed as their homestead, meaning they were paying less in property taxes, so they got hit in with more fines on my way out. Dang, that was really good. Wow. Dang, I don't have words. That was a good revenge right there. There's just no way you can just beat that. No way. Mm-mm. So yeah, thank you guys for watching. That's basically all I have for today. So yeah, goodbye.